Alrighty, this is 3 Steps to Surrender. This is decided to do by popular demand. Let's see if the cat will hold the thing. The cat is not going to hold the phone. This is a video by popular demand purely because Alison, what up, said, yeah, that's a video I'd like. And I really appreciate you commenting on every video as well. It's really nice. I'm in a space recently where I'm more capable of appreciating appreciation, especially through surrender. My heart has opened up. Check it. Boom, 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 boom. So, to be honest, this is it. Now, to me, there's only one step to surrender. That is to feel. To feel and to allow your emotions. But when describing this to my partner, she was like, can you describe it in 3 steps? And then in the last video, I was like, well, maybe there's a video in this, and it was requested. So here we go. Politely getting off my ego to describe something amazing. Basically, there are 3 steps if you want to look at surrender as a 3-step process. What is surrender? Surrender is the simple way of letting go of your emotions. To let them pass, and for them to go up, and for you to develop an expanded awareness towards your emotions. So you look at your emotions, you allow them to transgress, to do the things that they weren't meant to do, which means if you're grieving, you fully give yourself permission to grieve, and eventually that grief has a cycle, and usually at the end of a cycle, you learn something about it. So it's like watching a movie and realizing, wow, that movie was about the movie Avengers was an action movie, or having some concluding thought. If someone asks you what the movie was about, you know, because you've been through and you've watched the whole movie. This is what this is about. So you usually get a concluding thought, or for me, it feels like a popping sensation in my chest. I'm not the only one talking about this, by the way, but I am the one systemizing it, by the way. Kapow! So 3 steps. First step. Let's do a different view for every step. First step to surrender is to notice that you are feeling something. That means that if you have a negative reaction, if you are feeling stuck, it's generally a reaction you don't necessarily want to have. So if you are at work and you feel frustrated, if you see someone attractive and you feel, ooh, delicious. If you are running late and you feel stressed, any emotional reaction ever. You can start off by specifically focusing on negative reactions. But when you get to level 10 Jedi Wizard level, double-decker wizard level that I would politely describe myself as, you do it towards every emotion. So step 1 is notice that you are having an emotion. Now, the emotions that we tend to have, generally speaking, are the emotions that are repeated. So it's like we've gone through it enough times that our brain has become aware. I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling stressed, I'm feeling depressed, I'm feeling something. So to recognize and to recognize the feeling of an emotion as well. That's very important. So rather than saying, I am depressed, I am stressed, I am frustrated, what is the underlying feeling? Now, when I'm coaching people one-on-one, I often get them to locate that feeling. Where is the feeling within their body? Is it in your chest? Some people like stress is in their shoulders, something's in their face, stuff like that. Where is it feeling? Where is the feeling? And what is the feeling necessarily? What does it feel like? What does stuck feel like? What does stressed feel like? Without the words. You can use the words if it's easier, but later on, when you get to level 10 double-decker mega wizard, you will, it's much more powerful just to have it without the words, because the words, we have labels to these words, so we want to surrender to the feeling itself, the underlying emotion. Now, that's step 1, we could summarize as mindfulness, although this is a bit more targeted and specific. Step 2 then is to then surrender. It's to let yourself fully and wholly feel that feeling. Now, that's the hard part, because if you're stressed, that's the hard part for newbies. If you are stressed, feeling stressed is scary or painful. If you are grief is painful. So what do? We resist it. We don't necessarily want to. So by allowing ourselves to feel the grief or feel the stress, we are letting it transgress. We are letting it go through its course. Wait, I forgot to switch the camera for view for thing number 2. Thing number 2, surrender. By letting it surrender into it, we are allowing it to pass. Now, that's the step 3 is the, oh God, something in my eye. Step 3 is the interesting thing. Step 3 is quite literally, you keep going. Oh wait, step 3, different angle. Ooh, such a sexy angle. Step 3 is to very figuratively and literally and emotionally keep going until it passes or you have a new sensation. So you have a new emotion or a new feeling. So what does that mean, right? So say you're stressed. You let yourself fully feel stressed. Now that, for some people, might be painful. So then you might become very aware. The emotion then shifts to being stressed about being stressed. I don't want to be stressed. I don't like being stressed. So therefore you go back to step 1. You keep going until it changes or passes and you repeat. So step 1 then, be mindful. I'm stressed about being stressed. I don't like being stressed. Oh, there's 2 things there. I don't like being stressed and I'm stressed about being stressed. So what do? We surrender to that. We let ourselves feel stressed about being stressed and we let ourselves not like being stressed. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. Then you keep going until it passes or it changes form. In which, if it changes form, you do repeat. It is literally, you keep going, 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 you keep going until you reach enlightenment. No, until you get to a point where you are either at peace, you've let go, and you have ultimately, usually, you get a concluding thought. So, I said like watching a movie, at the end of the movie, you're like, yeah, that movie was a scary movie. I liked that movie. I didn't like that movie. You'll have this final conclusion where you've done that thing and you recognize it and you pass it through. So for example, today, I'm developing weight loss via meditation. It's basically this. Shock, horror. But I was eating wonderful and amazing chili salami, and I realized that I felt so guilty around it. Now, I've been feeling guilty my whole life around eating food. That's why I'm working on this. Now, what happened was I realized then, so I surrender, I recognize, then you surrender, so that you I let myself fully feel guilty, as this example. Now, what happens next is, it eventually changed. I realized I was guilty around eating, or I was guilty around the quantity, so I let myself feel guilty around that. And then it just pops. It just felt like this popping feeling in my chest. It's because it's like the groove. I'll have to talk about grooves later. This is not my concept. This is like a Buddhist concept where there's like emotional reactions are like grooves in the sand, grooves like the water, like at a beach, right? The water can just wash the grooves away. Grooves in a rock, grooves in something else. It's like the reactions we have tend to last our whole life. In Vipassana, they call it Sankhara, meaning reaction. It's our reactions, our emotional reactions, they're embedded. So we're letting our reactions run their course. Now, here's the thing, right? I have 1 minute left to explain this. I'm going to do my best. If this video is really popular, I'll make a much more deep and interesting, longer video about this because it'll be much more cooler, including this 3 steps as well. But letting go, surrender, is a natural thing. All we have done is observed it and systemized it, thanks to me, your host, Sharam Namdarian. But look at any motherfucking Hollywood movie. Look at any Hollywood movie. What happens at the end? Or like before the final act, where things are really shit. The hero is down in their dumps. They are trying their best. They are failing. What do they fucking do? They surrender. And then they finally let themselves feel the grief, the defeat, the whatever, and then they learn something new. That's this process. You make space in your heart when you fully let go, for the truly new to happen. I am the first motherfucker on Instagram to use success via surrender.